Well, I guess that's it for adulting for right now. Because adulting sucks.
Fuck adulting. Hey everybody, welcome to Will and Drew's Gaming Retrospective. You're listening to episode 23 for the week of May 5th, 2019. I'm your host, Drew, and I am joined by longtime no-see Will.
Dude, it's May 1st.
Today is May 1st.
We made it.
Did we?
I guess we did.
What did we make it to?
We made it to May. We made it this far. We made it this far with the podcast. This is episode, what, 23?
23, man. 23.
Hey, man.
We always title these like the week of, and we're missing May the 4th by one day. And that kind of breaks my heart a little bit, I'm not going to lie.
Maybe for like the Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Yeah, man. How the hell are you?
I'm well. I can't complain. I mean, we all have to adult, and there's adulting issues that we all face. But besides that, I'm pretty good. What about you?
I have not been adulting well. I am desperately trying to adult better. Just to kind of give everybody a little bit of insight, I have been enrolled in college classes for the past 2 years and going for an associate's degree in communications. And this is my, I'm graduating in a couple weeks, and I have just been like cramming in as much as I can, trying to get it done. And there's other stresses that are factored in with that as well, too, because I am an adult and I have other responsibilities, and it is not going well.
Well, you know what? Here's a good thing, man. You're graduating soon, you mentioned. So, I mean, that's gigantic. Mm-hmm. And you're also working on like 2 films, right?
Yeah, well, that's kind of like my version of a thesis. We don't have any papers that we have to hand in. We have a short film, a short movie, and a documentary, and both of them are fairly short. We're talking 15 to 20 minutes. So it's not like anything crazy, but we're working with small crews, so I'm responsible for writing, editing, directing, photography. It's literally me and one other guy filming this stuff, and then we have 2 actors, and then everything else, once the whole thing is over with, it falls on my shoulders. So there's a ton of prep work. And like when you have a real movie, there's teams. If you look at the credits, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people that work on some of these films.
Oh yeah, you have your key grips and your dollies and all that stuff.
It's insane. And then obviously with a short film, it's not the same caliber, and I get that. I'm not trying to compare myself to something like Avengers, but but when it's a one-stop shop, it's a lot of work. And
sure,
it's fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but it is incredibly stressful trying to meet these deadlines. Oh,
I can only imagine. I mean, I'm sure the payoff will be, pretty rewarding. Yeah. And all I can say is, if you guys have not checked out Drew's trailer for, what is it, the Kodiak Killer?
Kodiak Killer, yeah.
Yeah, please check it out. I'm sure we'll drop it in the box or the mailbag somewhere where you guys can find it. But yeah, check it out. I think it's shaping up to be something special. And I don't know much about it.
Well, that's the whole idea. I don't want to tell anybody about it until it's out. But I'm very fortunate to be working with some really talented people, and without them, I wouldn't be able to do this. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, man. Other than that, I'm looking forward to regrouping and chatting about games with you. Although I am very, very sad to report that I have not been playing anything. So
we're in the same boat.
I've been focusing on getting this shit done. So the last time, well, I mean, all right, I guess that's not completely true. Like, I have some mobile games I could talk about, but
yeah, let's not.
Yeah, I mean, like these are the games I play when I'm on the shitter. I don't think anybody wants to know about those.
God.
Have you been playing Sekiro at all, or?
Not really. I mean, I say that because I can't really recall the last time I played, and it's not because it's been that long. It's just because it was like, I think about like a week ago that I popped it in, and I just I remember beating a boss that I was like stuck on for a while, and I was really happy about that. And then what did I do? I think I just kind of like wandered around to like the next area and I think I had to save. I had to save because it was either bedtime or I had something going on. But yeah, I'm hoping to sink my teeth back into it today. I really have no excuse. I don't have too much on my plate for the rest of the day, so I'm hoping to, get back to it and make some progress.
How easy is it to save in that game?
It's pretty easy, man. I think with Dark Souls, like not only did you not have like a pause button, but saving was just kind of like weird. Like you just kind of had to, I don't even think there was a save. It was just quick game, and it would you would just have to put yourself in like kind of a safe zone and just quit the game, and then you would load up and you'd be more or less where you were. Okay. With Sekiro, it's kind of like the same thing. Usually you just kind of get to a safe zone, but there's an actual save option as far as I know. I feel like I should know this, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a save game.
Interesting. I've always wondered about those types of games. Like more and more I'm seeing that there are games that just don't have a means of pausing them. Is Sekiro like that? You can't pause it?
You can okay. Actually. Whereas, like I said, Dark Souls, I don't think any of the games had a pause button.
I don't understand the thought process in that. Like, I don't know. As a person who, often will be playing in the middle of, multitasking like 10 other things, a pause button's like crucial. And
sure,
I kind of understand it when you're doing like a multiplayer game, like, either something like PUBG or, Destiny, games like that.
Yeah,
we have other people on a server, but if it's a single player game, like why would you do that to your players?
As far as I know, they actually had like a written reason for it. I could be completely wrong on that, but my memory, if it's serving me correctly, they had a reason. And from what I understand, it was literally just to add to the difficulty, just to add to that sense of you're alone and you can't just pause. You can't you're never safe. And I think, when you play those games, you understand why they did it, because you understand that you're never really safe in that game. Even with a pause button, they still create that sense of just never being or always being vulnerable. So I think that's why they kind of removed it. But I think it's kind of a cool element.
Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
But it's not for everybody.
No, definitely not. I almost pulled the trigger on Sekiro, by the way.
It's tempting not to.
Yeah, I mean, Best Buy had it on sale. I'm not sure if it's still on sale, but it was like $45, and I'm sitting on a gift certificate for or a coupon for 25% off, and so it would have made it pretty cheap. But like, I just
it's I don't know. I feel like maybe at this point in your life, it's not the best game to be playing right now.
Yeah, that's kind of the realization I had. It's like I still have God of War and Nier Automata sitting on my shelf, and I'm like, I really want to play those games. But when I haven't turned on my Xbox or my PlayStation in 2 weeks, like, what's the point?
Yeah, I tell you what, though, I mean, without kind of, going into that subject, I think it's nice, like, when you get to that moment where you're like, I'm ready. I'm ready to play God of War. It feels right, and when everything just kind of falls into place, like, you can really hammer out some game time. So I think it's worth waiting.
I think
till you're ready.
Once I graduate, I'm going to take a serious look at whether or not I can afford a Switch. And I'm going to buy that if I can, as like a gift to myself. And then I'm going to sit down with that and God of War at the same time. I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm going to play Zelda in one hand and God of War in the other. And everybody else can go fuck themselves.
Hey, man, I think that's what it takes.
Because I could do that with the Switch, man. The Switch is portable, bro.
Yep, you certainly could. You can go like get in your car, go drive to like a fucking empty parking lot and just play it. And I've done similar things, not with the Switch, but I've driven to like an empty fucking parking lot with like, I don't know, a smoothie or a meal from somewhere just to get the fuck away from everything. And I think I'm a big like proponent of that. Like, without, this is a podcast about gaming, but if you need some fucking personal time for even just fucking 30 minutes to an hour, go sit in your car in a parking lot that's quiet. I swear to God, it will change your life.
Yeah, you're right. You're spot on, man.
Because no one can fuck with you. Like, but you got to make sure that you park somewhere that's literally really far away, because sometimes you'll park somewhere that's like mildly far away and then somebody parks next to you and you're like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Really? You want to eat your lunch too next to me? That's happened to me so many times.
Oh man, it's the worst, dude. We were at a park a couple days ago filming for this movie, and it was kind of late in the day. The park was fairly empty, right? And we're doing the scene with a drone, and this fucking guy pulls right up next to us while we're using this drone. I'm like, come on, dude! Like, there's literally 5 other parking lots nearby, and you had to pick the one that's next to us.
I know, dude. The only explanation for that is probably just sheer curiosity and just nosiness.
And stupidity.
And stupidity of just like not realizing that like people are like doing shit.
Yeah. Anyway, well, we got to talk about this new trailer that just hit the internet yesterday. And this is going to be a blockbuster movie in another country, but probably not here.
What movie is this?
I'm talking about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh boy.
Have you seen this garbage?
Well, yes, I have.
Allow me not to color your opinion of it, because I have spoken to people who actually think this looks good. How do you feel about this?
I was gonna say torn, but like I'm not torn anymore. Like I thought about this at the gym. I was at the gym earlier, and I thought, maybe I am on board with like everybody that's like just bashing this so far, like his human teeth, like the fact that he just looks weird. The biggest thing for me is like, where is this coming from? Like why is Sonic all of a sudden relevant? Like I understand that he's relevant in most people's minds because he's a pretty big staple in like the video game community for like your average like basic gamer that played games growing up. Like he's a household name. He's like a Mario, right? But like, why? Why is this happening? Like, and Jim Carrey's in it, and like, there's actually like that other dude that plays Cyclops in the X-Men movies. I forget his name now.
Oh,
like,
is that who's playing the lead?
Yeah, I forget his name, but like, I just watched it and I was like, why? Like, what is this? Like, who's directing it? Who came up with this idea? It looks pretty bad.
It's being directed by Jeff Fowler.
Right. I mean, like, look, there's a lot of no-name actors that are directing movies, and some of them are really good, but like, I just don't understand why. Like, where is this coming from? Why is Sonic all of a sudden relevant? Maybe it's not relevant, and somebody just thought, we need to make a Sonic movie, but like, I don't know. I just feel like it's very left field. I feel like it's very bizarre. Sonic looks weird, and I don't know who this is marketed towards.
All right, so up to this point, I have not seen anything even remotely like redeeming of it, but I just found out that the person who's voicing Sonic the Hedgehog is an actor by the name of Ben Schwartz, and he's pretty great. Have you ever seen Parks and Recreation?
No. Well, actually, I take that back. I've seen like clips.
All right, he plays a character called Jean Ralphio in that show, and it's like a recurring character. He's not main cast. He's the most obnoxious fucking person you know. Everybody knows one of these people, right? And he plays this character to a T. And he by the end of the show, he kind of makes you actually start to like him. It's kind of that kind of redemption path. It's very, very bizarre. But he's the only good thing about this show or this movie. There isn't a single other thing about this movie that's redeeming.
No, it certainly doesn't seem that way. I mean, like, I watched the trailer this morning, like, on my phone, in bed. I think it was this morning or it was last night. I can't remember. What the fuck ever. But either way, I don't know, man. Those are my thoughts. Like, I just don't understand, like, why or where this is coming from. And, like...
Nobody asked for this.
No one asked for it.
There isn't a single person that woke up and said, gee golly, I sure wish Sonic the Hedgehog was running around in real life with an actor on a movie where I look nothing, or Sonic looks nothing like he does in the games, and nobody cares, and it sucks.
It's just, yeah.
And then they have the balls to put Gangster's Paradise.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing gangster about Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm sorry.
Oh my
They even
God.
use like some of the sound effects too of like him like, charging up or whatever. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no. That was a moment where I just like I had to put like my forehead like in my hand and I was just like, oh no. No, 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 no.
Just facepalm.
Like they
Total
should have just
facepalm.
stuck to like an anime or like a CGI movie like The Lion King or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, if they just made a cartoon for an hour and a half, it would have been fine.
or maybe some silly like quick like Netflix series that was like
Yeah.
really good, but it was like super short. It was only like one season or some shit. Like
Right.
that would have made sense, but
Yeah.
like a blockbuster movie with like and fucking Jim Carrey, like what? Like that dude's like not even like as far as I know, he's not even acting. Like he's like last time I saw him like on TV or an image of him, he had a giant beard. He looked homeless. And he was like kind of advocating like how acting is not really what you think it is, and being rich is not what you think it is. And like now he's just like I don't know. I just find it to be very bizarre the whole thing.
Yeah,
Like
he's a little weird, and
like if
I don't like him anyway.
no, I've never. I mean, a lot of people might scold me for this, and I really don't care. But I've never found him to be that funny. It's
No.
kind of like what's his face? Adam Sandler. That
Yeah,
dude
I
does
can't stand
not
him
make
either.
me laugh
Oh,
at
man.
all.
You know what? It warms my heart to know that I've finally met somebody who shares the same beliefs as I do.
Oh, we can get married if you want, man.
All right.
We'll just divorce. So, I mean, you're not even married yet, but like, you'll
Well,
just cut off the engagement. I'll divorce Lauren, and we'll get married for the right reasons.
I think these are excellent reasons because I fucking can't stand Jim Carrey. I've never liked him. The best thing he's ever done was not comedy. You know,
Right.
I'm serious. Like Eternal Sunshine was a fantastic film. And even that, like I wouldn't go out of my way to see it. Like I enjoyed it. You know, I thought he did a great job in it. But just like I didn't like him when I was a kid, and I don't like him now. And now that you mentioned Adam Sandler, fuck that guy too, because he sucks shit as well.
Oh, dude, it's so bad, dude. Like, I remember, like, just like when we were in high school and middle school, people were like
Oh,
joking
God.
around about, like, oh, it's cool to pee your pants and like all this fucking stupid quotes from like all of the movies and like, like all the stupid like shit that he does. And I'm like, I don't understand how anyone can think that this guy's funny.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't take a lot for me to laugh. Like, I find a lot of things and a lot of people funny, but God damn, dude, there are just some actors and comedians out there that are just, I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole nother thing. The movie looks like it's going to be terrible. I'm sure it will be. And I think it would have made more sense to make like a new Mortal Kombat movie with like a really good director. Because like the first and second movie that came out, I mean, they were pretty fucking terrible, but they were pretty entertaining as well.
They had their charm.
They had charm. It was kind of like
You know?
Bloodsport or like Street
Yeah.
Fighter, like horrible movies, but like amazing in their own way.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you put them in perspective of the movies that they were based off of and you know, came out near, they were just cheesy martial arts films, but they were great in their own
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
You know, and in that, if you watch it now, yeah, sure, it's terrible, but man, when I was I was a martial artist when I was a child. Like I used to do competitions and everything, and we'd go to tournaments. And I swear, like we had this division called musical forms, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You would do a kata with music, and you would time your moves to the beat and everything, and they would rate you on. It was very showy and flashy, but it was fun. There wasn't a fucking tournament for 3 years consecutive where somebody wasn't using the goddamn Mortal Kombat theme.
Yeah, dude, it's just
the Mortal Kombat. Da, da, da,
yeah,
da, da, you know,
which by the way is a fantastic theme.
Totally.
If it's not overplayed,
I have that album.
especially like I believe from the first movie, like where you hear that guy like scream it, you get chills.
Oh
Like
yeah,
every time. Like if somebody played that for me right now, I would probably get chills. And it's got nothing to do with Mortal Kombat. It's just the fact that it's so visceral and it's so epic.
Yeah,
And you're just like, oh, yeah, I just feel like a Spartan. And I just like, I want to be like King Leonidas. 300 had that same effect where you just felt so badass after like the first time you ever watched that film.
yeah. Man. Oh, that's another great movie too.
It is. It doesn't hold up that well, in my opinion, but it's still very good.
Well, it's like the first time you see it is just going to have the most impact on you.
Yes,
And
yes.
Rambo was the same way. Rambo,
Yo,
the
yeah.
the newest one, I mean.
Yes. I think that was like '06 when that came out, and that was
Yeah.
just fucking, it was bloody fantastic.
Literally.
Literally bloody fantastic.
I wanted to like just leave the theater and find a cow and just start like eating it raw. Just like I know you're vegetarian. I apologize for these
No, it's
gruesome
fine.
images, but like that's how I felt. Like I was just like, I'm a man.
Well, that's it. That's it, man. Like those movies, they remind you of what it's like to be an alpha male and how
Yeah.
it's important that you still hold on to some of your roots of just being a man, because
Yeah.
like I think in today's world, we kind of forget what it's like to just be that guy, the shoulder to cry on, the tough guy and the guy that chops the wood and brings it home. And, I
Mm.
think it's important to still have those values.
Well, I can't speak for you, but I know I've got plenty of flannel right now. So
I'm sure you do.
yeah, man, lumberjack and all that shit.
So moving on from Sonic, like
Yeah.
what else do we have here?
Well, so there's been some reviews coming out for Days Gone, which I know was a kind of a hot topic for a lot of people for a while.
Hmm.
And it seems like maybe it should have kept going. um, the reviews have not been kind.
Okay.
And it kind of got me thinking, about, I haven't played the game personally, but, it's apparently a very mediocre game. And it kind of got me wondering, like, as a gamer, what is the best way to avoid falling into the trap of buying a bad game outside of just waiting for reviews? I think that's the easy answer.
Hmm.
How do you avoid a bad game without relying on reviews, with making your own opinion? And
It's
then
sorry.
if you do end up with a bad game, how do you make the best of it to get your money's worth?
Hmm. I think this is a really good question because I think a lot of people face this just a lot, like
Mm.
they pre-order a game and maybe they sometimes cancel it, or they pre-order and they buy it full price and they're like, fuck, this is bad and I have no choice but to sell it or trade it. Or moving on to like the second part of that question, how do you take a game that's pretty bad and try to like it or make the best of it?
Mhm.
I feel like it's a tough one for me because I think I sort of answered something similar to this on my solo episode where I kind of mentioned that I'm so meticulous with what I buy for the most part.
Mhm.
And with the research I put in, that's generally very spoiler free. I try to target the games I buy to something that I just almost know I'm going to like.
Mm.
And I know that some people might think, well, how is that even possible? It is possible because if you watch a couple videos and you do your research, you can, tune it in with your frequency of what you actually enjoy. And I think that it really lowers the chances of you getting something that's potentially bad. Now, don't get me wrong. Mission Impossible 64 was a horrible game. And I thought that I was going to love it, and I didn't.
Mhm.
And that's happened in a couple different areas of my life with games. But as you go on, you get better at, I think, about avoiding that.
I thought I had that down too, like the whole idea of avoiding games. And, I fell into the hype with Anthem. It was a developer that I trusted, that I had a, good experience with repeatedly. And it was set in a world that I loved. It looked like the gameplay was going to be great. And, it just ended up being a buggy mess. And, you know, it, I'd like to think that I have my pulse on what's going to be good in a game, but I got duped on that one.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I said, it happens. I feel like with Days Gone, it's I've seen a couple clips of this like a while back, like I think when it was in development, and it
Mm.
looked like graphically very good. But at the same time, I think I had mentioned also in the last show that I'm not a big fan of like survival like games like this. And from what I understand, it's kind of one of those sort of things.
Yeah.
Probably some elements pulled from Last of Us and things like that. But I don't know. There's nothing that's really appealing to me about this one.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading Kotako's review on it, and they basically said that the game is pulling from a lot of different sources for this type of game. So, there are a lot of comparisons to like Far Cry 5 and a lot of comparisons to Red Dead Redemption and Last of Us, and it takes all these different elements from these games and tries to combine them into this one, large open world. And it does a all right job of it, but nothing is truly special.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, like, he ended up comparing it to stir fry, because you get all these different things from the refrigerator and you combine them in a pot and you make them, and they taste all right, but nobody ever really craves stir fry.
Yeah.
It doesn't really, it feeds you, but it doesn't satisfy you.
I think that's a great analogy. Not only is stir fry not something that most people crave, but it's sometimes it's a jumbled mess. Sometimes it's a happy accident. So it's one of the two.
Right.
And I think with Days Gone, I mean, from what I've looked at for the past 5 minutes, it seems like it could be a little bit jumbled.
Yeah. So when you're like looking for a game, you say to yourself, boy, I got $60 I'm putting aside for my next purchase. Like, what is it that you look for in previews and articles and things of that nature?
Sure. I usually will like to find out first and foremost who the dev is or who the developer is. Sometimes even the publisher can matter to me. I'm kind of just weird about that stuff because I put a lot of trust in like you said, when you got Anthem, like you're a big fan of
BioWare.
That's right, BioWare.
Yeah.
So that matters, number one. Two, definitely obviously the premise of what the game is about. And then art, like the art style and how the game controls and moves and all of those things really matter to me. And in a lot of ways, that sounds like what most people look for. But I don't think a lot of people look for that stuff. I think people look for graphics and like gameplay and the premise, and that's kind of it. For based on like your average gamer, I feel like they only kind of look for maybe like 2 to 3 things at most. Whereas I think I shouldn't say more refined gamers, but somebody that's a little bit more particular like myself, I'll definitely do more refinements and I'll do more combing through things to really just like, again, rule out some stuff that I think that I might not like. And trust me, there's been times where I bought games that I didn't do that, and it was my own fault as to why I didn't like it. It's because I didn't do enough research. I didn't do enough exploration of the things that truly matter to me.
What is the last game that happened to you?
I would say I can remember the I think it was Call of Duty World War II, which is a relatively new title from them. I bought that, must have been sometime last year, maybe even the year before. And didn't do that much research on it. I just wanted to get back into Call of Duty and get back into that camaraderie.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. I ended up playing with like maybe 1 or 2 people here and there, and the game was just not good. So that one pissed me off because I spent, I'm pretty sure, full price on that. And I think I just traded it. And of course, I probably only got like $20 in credit or whatever. So that one hurt. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I traded. It's been a long time since I traded something. Monster Hunter World. Now, that is a game that I have actually not played. Interestingly enough, I did not do that much research on it. I got pressured by Joe and his now fiance Bree to get that game, and Raffy Fatfingers, of course. They were all playing it back when the game was hot.
Yeah.
And I did very little research. And the fact that Capcom backed it or was the dev or whatever, and it looked kind of cool, I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just get it. Like, you guys are pressuring me. Spent $60 on the digital copy, didn't even load it.
Wow.
Yep. So that one, I mean, I can't really say that it was a mistake, but it's sort of a mistake because I haven't made an effort to play it.
Yeah.
And it could be bad for me.
That's a game that I've had kind of interest in on the periphery. Xbox is doing a promotion right now where you can sign up for their Games Pass for $1 a month for 3 months. And I've been tempted to sign up for it, and I just haven't because, no time. But they have 100 games available at any given time, and Monster Hunter World is one of them. And that's a game that I've always had interest in. But it's like the type of game that I really, I don't want to share that experience with anybody else because I'm just an antisocial gamer. So I need to do more research on whether or not that game can be played solo or not. I'm not sure if it can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, like, antisocial gamer. Like, in a lot of ways, I get moments where I want to be really social. And then there's a lot of moments where I want to play a game and I want it to feel like it's like me playing it only.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you want to
Yeah.
have like that experience with like a really special game that like maybe isn't that like hot, and you just want to be able to cherish it and nourish it like for yourself,
Yeah.
and then walk away and be like, oh yeah, like I played this, I beat it, like it's a special experience for me. And I think there's a lot of people that have the same mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I think I'm just beyond even playing with other people at this point, you know. Like I enjoy playing with like my friends,
Right.
but only like a certain type of game. If it's a game that has an option between single player and multiplayer, and like I can flip a switch and turn it off, I'll turn it off every single time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of these open world games now where they're like kind of shared experiences and you can come across other players. And if I have the option to not come across anybody, I will turn that shit off.
Oh yeah. My days
So
of like gaming with like complete strangers
yeah.
are pretty much like way over. Like
I don't even want to compete against them. I don't want them on my team. I don't want them on the other team. I just don't want them anywhere near me.
yeah, I will say though, very occasionally I'll jump into like Battlefield and I'll play with like just a completely random like squad or team. And sometimes I'll have amazing games where I want to stay in that room and I want to keep playing with them. But most of the time, it's usually not the case,
Yeah.
and you end up just kind of dealing with, that one guy that's super loud on the mic, or one guy that doesn't realize he's not muted, or just like
Yeah.
the stupid online things.
That asshole that's playing like fucking music in the background at full blast while his mic's on.
Yep, or you get that message from like somebody that's like, fuck you, buddy, like you were camping, or like all of that. Like I walked away from that world a
Yeah.
long time ago,
Yep.
and it's been better.
Would you? I mean, I know like your purchases have kind of gone down over the past couple of years. You've been a little bit more choosy with the games for the most part that you buy. Have you ever circled back to something that maybe you had interest in at release but didn't buy, and then you're like, oh, you know what? This is only $20. Let me pick it up now.
100%.
Yeah.
One of those games that's still on my radar is Heavy Rain. That one is just, I mean, the soundtrack alone is what sold me.
That's a good game. That's a good
yeah.
game.
And oh my gosh, I think I had a demo on PS3 forever ago. And then I bought it for PS3 and I played like 10 minutes of it and then traded it because the box reeked of cigarette smoke. And then, they came out with a remastered version for PS4 some time ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this on my radar. But yeah, I generally will have like a small list of games that have always been appealing to me, but I just never bought. And that list is still kind of mentally there. I used to have it written down, but I think I got rid of it because I didn't want the mental exhaustion of knowing that it was there.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, there's all these games that I have to like still play. So I just got rid of it and I just work on the backlog. It's like a jackhammer, you're just trying to get through as best as you can.
Oh man, I have that like sweet spot where it's like, okay, if this game drops below X, then I'll go and buy it, And I'm kind of waiting for Sekiro to hit that point. I feel like Sekiro for me is a $20 purchase. Not to devalue the game in any form or fashion.
Sure, but for you.
Yeah, but for me, I think that if I spend any more than maybe $25 on the game, I'll be doing myself a disservice.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's different strokes for different folks kind of thing with that. Like Damien, myself, and certain other people are going to gravitate towards those sorts of games because we're fascinated by the time period and like, ninjas and things like that. So.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm like absolutely fascinated with that kind of stuff too, but it's just, it's a time factor at this point.
Well, there is that as well. That's certainly a huge part of it.
I want to kind of use this as a launching point into our next topic because I feel that this is a little bit touchy, and I think we're going to have some. I think this is going to spark some discussion in our Discord room.
Okay.
Which, by the way, folks, there is a link for in the description. So if you'd like to join us in Discord, come on by, say hello. We'd love to have you there. But game piracy. Let's talk about game piracy for a second.
Hmm.
Is it fair? Is it justifiable under any circumstances?
Okay, so I'm going to give the short-winded answer first, and then let you kind of chime in here. So, game piracy is absolutely a crime, and here's why. Short-winded. If you're not buying something, you're stealing it. It's pretty simple. A lot of people have a hard time understanding that because of the way that games are distributed through forums, through Discord, through files, through thumb drives, however it is that you want to distribute a game that you didn't pay for, you're not buying it. Okay, so if you buy it and you share it, I'm pretty damn sure that's illegal as well. It's really no different than if you were to buy Interstellar on Blu-ray and you made a bunch of copies of it and you were selling it. Now, even if you didn't sell it and you were still giving them away, I'm pretty damn sure that's still illegal. Because you're fucking up the entire distribution line, and you're just, that is not even really pirating. You're just distributing something that, even though you paid for it, you're making copies of something that you paid for, but yet the other people aren't. So you're giving away a product that's just essentially being cloned without the studio's permission. So with that being said, I don't care if you got a free copy and it didn't hurt anybody. It did. And the reason why it hurts somebody is because you're hurting the developer and you're hurting the publisher and you're hurting everybody that made that game by not paying your money for all of their hard work to play a game. That's the short-winded version.
It wasn't short.
Okay, well, I could go on into a big discussion about this, but like,
well, we have 24 minutes to fill, so you better.
Right. You got to keep it tight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that it certainly is something that's illegal, and does cause harm to the industry. I agree 100%. I am not afraid to admit, though, that I have pirated games and other media, other forms of media. And generally speaking, if I'm unsure about something, like if I'm unsure if I'm going to like a game, that would be a case where I would pirate it. And I'm talking like strictly PC games here. Right? I'm not really into pirating console games because it's a little bit more complicated. You need to have a modded system, and that's a whole another area that I really don't want to go down, just because it becomes less convenient for me at that point. But for PC games, I've pirated them as a means of trying them out. And if it's something that I like, I will very often turn around and buy it. If it's something I'm on the fence on, maybe I'll download a crack, give it a try, see how it goes. And if it's good, I'll pony up to $20, $30, $50, whatever.
Right. It's a tough one. I think this one we haven't really avoided. We just wanted to wait for the right time to discuss it because it is kind of a large subject, and I don't even know if it really is that much of a thing now, because I haven't really heard much about it just kind of happening, but I'm sure in the PC world, it's way more prevalent for the same reasons that you listed, like trying to distribute like a hard copy of RDR2 is probably going to be a lot more challenging.
It's easier for PC gamers to distribute these types of things because there were a lot of methods of getting these games without DRM.
Right.
And just turning around and sharing them. So there are some sites that pride themselves on being DRM free, and I won't mention them because I'm not condoning it, but they pride themselves on being DRM free, but it's that same pride can also cause damage.
Sure. And look, we've all done it, man. We've all used Napster. We've all used Kazaa Lite and all that shit. And we've downloaded porn. We've downloaded music. We've all broken the law, I guess, in that sense that we have, downloaded things that we didn't pay for. We've all done it. But when it comes to games, like, I don't think come to think about it, I don't think I ever have. I've done it with music. We've all done it with porn. We've done it with movies. We've done it with TV shows.
I
And
don't know why you're lumping me into the porn category, sir.
well, okay, the general public, right? So
I pay for my porn.
here's the here's the thing. Like, Jesus Christ.
Go on.
Oh my God. You just hijacked that situation.
I'm sorry. I needed it.
So no, that's fine. We that was funny. So here's the thing. Like, I'm no advocate of like, and I'm no saint in terms of that world, right? For the reasons I've already said.
Yeah.
But as a grown adult, I don't do those things anymore. I don't download music anymore that, you know, I don't pay for. I use iTunes. I use some kind of service that I would have to pay for. SoundCloud I don't pay for, so I sometimes will use music for that, but it's the way that it is. Like, you're allowed to stream music off of that.
Yeah, I mean, just if you're using a form of media as it's intended, regardless of whether it's paid for or not.
Right.
You know, like I have a Spotify account. It's a free account.
Yeah.
I use it all the time. You know, but I'm not doing anything illegal. Like, that material is available for me to listen to with commercials.
Right.
That's part of the deal.
No, I just, overall, man, I think that when it comes to a game, or really anything at this point, when you download something, I always feel like there's an issue with it too. Like, maybe you download like an episode of Dexter, season 1, episode 4, right? You get it and it's all fucked up. Or maybe you get it and like the quality's fucked up. Like, it's, to me, I think I got past that and I was like, you know what? I'm just paying for my shit. You know, I'm just paying for everything. I know I'm going to get the right thing. And with games, I just feel like I'm pretty passionate about them and I understand like the work that goes into making them. So if you can't afford it, it's no different than you not being able to afford like a sofa. You got to save up for it. You want to try the sofa, go to the store and sit on it. You want to try a game, go to a store and play a demo. Ask for a demo, or if there's no demo or no way of you playing it, then you need to sign up for GameFly. Or you need to just buy the game, and if you don't like it, then you have to sell it, or you have to trade it in just like everybody else. And it's funny because I sound so like politically correct about this because I'm not about a lot of other things, but that's one thing that I've never been able to understand is how somebody can actually not think that it's a crime and how they can think that it's okay and it's not harming anybody because it actually is. Mm-hmm. And that's my biggest hump is that I can't really converse with anybody that does disagree with me. And that sounds so elitist, but it's just not, because my opinion on that is so firm, because I've yet to meet somebody who can actually give me a solid scientific reason as to how it's not illegal and how it's okay and how it doesn't hurt anyone.
I don't think anybody is questioning the legality of it.
No, but they know it's illegal.
I think what's happening is, as consumers, there is a growing part of the population that is starting to feel like it's being taken advantage of. And when you have games like Days Gone or, where it's supposed to be delivering on all these big promises and then it's an utter flop, I think people get sick of giving game manufacturers and developers their hard-earned cash to be let down.
I can completely agree on that. Completely. And some people might be like, well, see, there's the reason. There's the loophole. This is why I pirate games. I get it. You don't want to, get rid of your hard-earned money to something that you may not like. But at the same time, like, if there's plenty of people that go to a restaurant or a movie with the intentions of it possibly being good, and then it's bad and you don't get your money back. And like, you go to the movies and maybe you hate Avengers Endgame. That's it. You just wasted $18 and you deal with it and no one questions it and no one sneaks into movies. I mean, some people probably do, but it's hard to do it. Right. And like, that's something you do when you're like 14, 15 years old. As a full grown adult, like, I don't know, like, I just feel like it's kind of self-explanatory that you kind of have to just pay sometimes to find out if you like something. But for some reason, because it's available to stream things and because it's available to download things illegally, people do it because they found that loophole to do it.
excuse me 1 second because my cat has decided that it's snuggle time.
Yeah.
And he's trying to lay on the keyboard, and if he does, it will stop the recording. This is great radio, folks. Hi, buddy. You're gonna get out of here now. I'm sorry.
Hey, you gotta be direct.
Dax just jumped up on the table and he's like, "It's snuggle time," and I'm like, "No, I'm talking about piracy."
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, I'm not gonna try to convince anybody one way or the other with this. It's just a very fascinating thing to me.
It is.
Because, like I said before, there are games that I have pirated in the past before. Sometimes I've downloaded them and just never played them. Sometimes I've downloaded them, tried them, and then put them in the garbage. Sometimes I've downloaded them and then bought them, for the convenience of having it automatically update on something like Steam or whatever.
Sure.
But then you have a game like this, or Days Gone or Anthem, or where all these promises are delivered, and then you spend out the $60 of your hard-earned money. You spend your time playing the game. You spend your time doing the research on the game, and you think it's going to be something you love, and then it turns around and ends up being a pile of hot garbage.
Mm. Yeah,
and it's hard. It's hard not to be, feel taken advantage of. It really is. So I get both sides of the argument. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it is if you're gonna do it right, and it's kind of fucked up, and it's illegal, and you're not trying to justify anything, I'm probably gonna not say anything. But if you try to tell me that there's nothing wrong with it, then I'm probably just gonna be like, all right, well, I have my opinions on this, and I'm probably not gonna really express them because I don't really want to argue. So I'm probably just gonna move on.
Are there people that actually say there's something wrong with it though?
I've run into a couple people before that were not able to understand that there's absolutely something wrong with it.
Interesting.
But I don't know, man. I feel like the whole taking advantage thing, I can kind of get that one, but at the same time, I don't know if I've ever felt that way. Even if something was hot garbage and I paid my hard-earned money, I don't think I've ever felt taken advantage of. I've always felt it as well, at the end of the day, no one made me buy this game. I bought it. So this falls on me.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of how I feel about let's even take debt, for example, or anything those people that always like to blame the system or blame this and that. Don't get me wrong, there's some parts of the world and there's some systems that we have to abide by that are fucked up. But at the same time, if you take debt, no one did that but you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard pill for somebody to swallow, because people will always be like, well, no, I had to, because I had to go to this school and I had to get this car and I had to do this. It's well, I mean, yeah, but you also took out a huge amount of debt to do it. Mm-hmm. So it's not really the system that fucked you up. It still falls on you at the end of the day. So
right.
I think it's because my philosophy on other things is that it's hard for me to blame game devs and the gaming industry is making me, or having that feeling of being taken advantage of. That one's a tough one for me to swallow, but I understand people's perspective on it.
And I wouldn't say that most developers are doing that on purpose, taking advantage of people.
No.
I would venture a guess that most of them genuinely are working as hard as they can to make the best product possible. And as we've seen with a number of the Kotaku articles that Jason Schreiber has put out, it's not always a positive environment in these developers' offices.
Mm-hmm.
They go through a lot of stress. They go through a lot of changes and a lot of pressure, both from the fans, from their publishers. So a lot of times these games end up not being what they had originally envisioned, or sometimes the vision is lost, or sometimes there's no vision at all, whatever the case is. But so I don't believe that anybody sits down and says, you know what, today I'm going to program a game that's going to take advantage of people. That's ludicrous.
No, but I will say Anthem is kind of a shining star in the sense that this is a game that I could probably have a better understanding of how people did feel taken advantage of, because that one is almost proof that they developed this game and they marketed the game in such a way where it made it seem really something special. And it's happened a lot before, but this one stands out in particular because it was like almost like an epidemic of what happened with this game.
Yeah.
Where everybody was like, no, this is BioWare. Like, it looks good. There's just nothing that looks bad about this. And I don't know if they did it all on purpose or if they really just kind of fucked up in another way, but I've never seen a game launch that badly in a while.
Well, it's not even so much the launch of the game that's been the problem, but the way that the company has dealt with the backlash.
Yes, that you can't help but think that maybe there is some feeling of being taken advantage of with that particular one.
You know, especially when like the one redeeming thing that players have asked for. Like, all right, there's a lot of players that are like, hey, we know the game is a shit show right now. We're willing to give you the benefit of the doubt and the time to fix it because we enjoy playing it. So just give us what we want. And generally that's been higher loot drops, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that they can certainly turn off very quickly because every time they patch something and it breaks it and the drops go out of control, they turn it off like that, you know? So they know how to turn it off and on. That's not the issue anymore. And it's one of those games where you're constantly searching for the best roll. So the frequency of these drops is really important.
Mm. You know what? Not to interrupt, but I just want to segue on something real quick.
Yeah.
If there is actually a couple instances now that I sit here and think, you know, have I had the feeling of being taken advantage of? And I will say there actually has been a couple times. And one of them was with, I would say, like multiplayer shooters, like any kind of like premium packages, like Battlefield Premium, Call of Duty DLC packs, things of that nature, I think have a high risk of feeling that you're being taken advantage of. And the reason why is pretty simple. If it's not what it was supposed to be, or if it's buggy and it's not working well, at that point, you probably could feel that way, rightfully so, because you just spent like $50 extra on a premium service.
Yeah.
And you were told that it could be playable at this X time or whatever. And I know Raph and all of my Battlefield friends can attest to some of the issues that we faced with premium and some of its promises.
I bought the season pass for Battlefield 4 when that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time I ever bought into a Battlefield game. Mm-hmm. But it was looking incredible, and everybody was talking about how great it was going to be and everything, and I got swept up in the hype.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized after I bought that is that I fucking suck at Battlefield games, and I should be nowhere near them.
Mm.
And I felt like remorse for buying this season pass because it was like, I think I ended up spending like over $100 on the game and the season pass and everything.
Oh yeah, it gets expensive.
But you know, the game was still reviewed well. Like I can't say that I ever felt taken advantage of with that one. It just felt like, I made a stupid mistake, you know?
Sure.
But then you go and you look at games that have like these loot boxes, and you have, all right, you already spent X number of dollars on a game just to own it. And then you have all these loot boxes that you unlock, which can be unlocked through progression, or you can buy your way through them. And man, that is just like, that's when I start feeling like really taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I say to myself, you know what? Fuck that company. If I want to play this game, I'll pirate it.
Right. No, I can understand the frustration, and I can understand why some people will make that maneuver into the world of piracy. And I'm never going to shame anybody for doing it. I'm never going to be like, oh, dude, you're fucked up, man. Like, because I've done it. You know, I just haven't done it with gaming. And I, like I said, I have my opinions, but I'm not one of those people that will, like, you know, picket you to death about, like, you know, eating meat because I'm a vegetarian. Like, if you want to eat meat, do your thing, man. I ain't going to bother you. You know, I live differently and I have my thoughts on it, but I keep that to myself because I'll never be that keyboard warrior. I'll never be the guy in the comments that will just go back and forth with somebody because A, it's not worth it. And B, like, you need to be respectful of other people's opinions, you know?
Yeah.
And other people's thoughts and other people's beliefs. And, you know, with piracy, like I said, got my things, how I feel about it. But if you want to do it, that's fine. I'm just not going to be doing it.
Fair enough. Well, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to the discussion, either on this or any of the other topics we hit on?
Not really. Try to pay for your things if you can, and that really kind of applies for anything. And support the things that you love. And sometimes that requires some money, and if you don't have it, save. Save or get there where you can. I think that's kind of a closing statement on piracy in general. And then, yeah, I hope that you and I can do some more gaming, and we'll have some interesting topics for next week's episode.
Let me ask you before we wrap it up. What should I play? what? I mean, genuine question here.
Okay.
When I finally have an hour to myself, what should I play?
All right. Based on just what you have, or just in general?
Well, I mean, I don't want to buy anything new.
Okay.
So it's got to be something I have. Maybe it could be something that I haven't played yet. It could be something that I'm like halfway through, or Horizon.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I gotta say, man, I think that here's what I think you should do, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
When you're done, do you have free time today?
No. Well,
okay.
we're going to see Avengers.
Oh, that's right.
So.
Okay. So when you get that moment where you have time to game, even if it's for 30 minutes to an hour, here's what I want you to try and do. I want you to sit down with the Horizon art book that I gifted you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to sit down with it for about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to page through it a little bit. Watch a couple of those GIFs that I sent you on Twitter,
mm-hmm.
and then beat that fucking game. And here's why.
In 30 minutes.
Well, not in 30 minutes, but I want you to like hammer that fucking thing out, because I have a feeling that by doing what I just explained, we'll kind of boost that momentum again to fall in love with the game, get it finished, and I really want to play that game. And I think that it looks incredible. Every time I see something on Twitter about it, I get hyped for it. I'm like, oh man, like I can't wait to get to this game. Yeah, I just think that seems to make the most sense, because you don't have that much left and you've been pretty good with it. And I feel like it's not really a stressful game either. It's something that's kind of like just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It might be a cool game. You never know. It might be a cool game.
It is a cool game. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the coolest games I've ever played.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not look at that game? Or how could you look at that game and be like, you know what? This game ain't cool.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with you. That game is just fucking... I don't know even what to say about it. Like, I remember falling in love with like some gameplay video on PS4, and I was like, man, I got to get this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so unique.
Yeah, it really is.
What's not unique about it,
And you don't even know the story.
No, I don't even know much about it. I played a very small portion of it, and I was still in like training with my father or some shit, like when I was playing it. Mm-hmm. And I think I was a grown like Aloy. That's her name, right? Aloy?
Aloy, yeah.
Aloy. Yeah, I think I was fully grown. But there, I don't know. I think that's what you should play. I don't know if starting a new game is the best option, but I could be wrong. That's just my input.
No, I like it. I think kind of reinforce some of the thoughts that I've had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what I'll do. I don't know when that's going to be, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll fucking figure it out. Oh man.
If I have to walk the earth, I will. Damn it.
Yeah, basically. Folks, I want to thank everybody for hitting the download button and subscribing to the show. Thanks for sticking with us for the past couple of weeks. Will and I have both had just absolutely terrible schedules, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed the Q&A sessions that we've used to kind of fill in the gaps when one or the other of us have been unavailable. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you are following this podcast, whether it's on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you're subscribing to the show. Please take a moment to leave a review. Reviews do help us, especially on iTunes. So take a moment there. And of course, follow us on our social media at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at WDGR Podcast, at WDGR Podcast. Will, if somebody would like to follow you, how can they do so?
Will_gear.
You can follow me at Science_Storm, and I'm going to stop talking now because I have zero energy left. So
you made it.
Man, I'm going to go put on like pots of coffee. So thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.